Namaste, welcome everyone. My name is Kassandra, and this is a practice for the Yama of ASTEYA. So hopefully you've already watched Madhura's lecture on this topic. When I listened to it, there were really two things that really struck a chord with me, and this is how I themed this sequence. So the first thing was when Madhura mentioned that ASTEYA can also be theft of the present moment. And that hit a chord or struck a chord with me right away, because I know definitely this is something that I am quite guilty of. So stealing from the present moment, maybe by staying stuck in the past, reminiscing, daydreaming, indulging in nostalgia, or maybe, like what I am prone to do, is obsessive planning and continuously thinking about what's to come, preparing for the future. And all these things, of course, are, fairly hard to avoid all of the time. But as much as possible, I want us, especially on the mat right now, to really cultivate full mindfulness and presence of our present moment. So the beginning part of our class today is going to be a meditation on the five senses as a way to practice this presence and stillness, this awareness of where we are right here, right now. And this meditation is actually a technique and a tool that we can employ very discreetly throughout the day. So focusing on the five senses, and I'll take you through that in just a moment. But the other thing that really stuck out for me in Madhura's lecture was when she mentioned that ASTEYA comes from the root thought, I am not good enough. So thinking that we are not good enough, therefore we do not have enough. And maybe this is where the essence of greed and coveting what other people might have, jealousy, comparison, scarcity, maybe this is where these feelings and behaviors can stem from. And I can certainly relate to that on a very personal level. So I want our physical practice, this is going to be a vinyasa flow. I wanted to focus on bringing some heart openers and really connecting to the essence of our heart so that we can heal whatever wound might be present within us that makes us believe that we are not good enough, that we do not already have the answers within us, that we do not have enough. So the essence of our physical movement today is going to be rooted in the heart. So really working on opening the heart for true inner abundance. I work a lot with affirmations, and some affirmations that I've repeated to myself over the past few years is, I am enough, I have enough, and more specifically, there is plenty for everyone, including me. And to me personally, I really feel that that last one, there's plenty for everyone, including me, is a really wonderful affirmation to anchor the teachings of ASTEYA. So for the vinyasa portion of our practice, make sure you have a few blocks close by, and we're going to begin with the five senses meditation as a way to really ground ourselves. So as always, feel free to recline and lay down if this is better for your body. Otherwise, we're going to sit up tall, and I'll invite you to take padma mudra. So this lotus mudra, the blossoming flower of the heart, a way for us to tap in and cultivate our own sense of compassion for ourselves and others, and to really get in touch with our own true inner abundance. So very simply, you're bringing your pinky fingers and your thumbs together, the base of the palms together, and blossoming the fingers open. And I like to really bring this one right at the heart and opening it up. And normally for our meditations, we close our eyes, and you might choose to do this, or I would encourage you this time to tilt your gaze down so that you are gazing really softly into the palms of your hands. So gazing into this lotus flower blossoming at your heart. And begin to find your breath. Finding our connection to the present moment through our five senses. these five senses are really our gateway into the right here, right now. So without embarking or letting yourself be carried away by the stories and thoughts going through your mind, focus all of your awareness on what you can see. Without judgment, with an open heart, tune in to the sense of sight. The colors and the light. And now you may close your eyes, focusing now on your hearing, your deep inner listening. What sounds are present in your environment right now? How far away are these sounds? What is the furthest sound you can hear? And bring your awareness now to the sense of smell. As the air naturally flows in and out through your nostrils, notice if there are any scents that you can detect. If you notice your mind moving to the past or thinking of the future, just anchor it back with the sense of smell. Move your awareness now to your mouth for the sense of taste. Feeling into your tongue and your cheeks. And you might even swallow a few times. And finally, we'll focus on touch. Very lightly allow your palms to close in to Anjali mudra, releasing padma mudra. And feel your hands lightly touching one another. Even feeling the air around you the difference in temperature, the feel of your clothing on your skin, of your sitting bones anchored into the ground. And now bringing all of those senses together, you might imagine that you're tuning a radio, increasing the volume, turning the dial up on every sense. What you can see, what you can hear, what you can smell, what you can taste, and what you can touch. Allowing your senses to be flooded, being fully present in this moment and nowhere else. ASTEYA, not stealing from the moment. I am enough. I have enough. There is plenty for everyone, including me. And with our hands at heart center, we'll open our practice with the chant of Om one time. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Namaste. Opening the eyes. Let's make our way into a variation of Matsyasana pose. We'll do supported fish. If at home you like doing the full variation of fish pose using your arms, you can do that. For me, it just doesn't really work for my body, so I do supported fish with the help of either some blocks or a bolster. So first block goes in between the upper back, second to the back of the head. So go ahead and lower your way down into our first heart opening pose. And you can choose where you would like to bring your legs, maybe in Baddha Konasana, your butterfly shape, where your legs can be extended out in front of you. Shifting our physical practice into the expansion of our hearts, allowing this to be our connection and our embodiment of ASTEYA. Cultivating our own inner abundance, our own inner worth, so that we do not need to covet what other people have. We do not need to compare, to idolize, to fantasize, or to steal. So take 5 full deep breaths in this pose and really feel your rib cage expand front to back and side to side. So not just breathing into the front of the body, but really making this multi-dimensional. Take one more full breath all the way down into your belly. And if it feels appropriate to you here, see if you can extend your arms up overhead. You'll get a big stretch through your shoulders, deep into the armpits. Lengthening out. And then cradle the back of your head with your hands. And you can tuck your chin towards your chest. We'll slowly lift on up, coming into Baddha Konasana, forward fold. Soles of your feet coming together. And just letting yourself counteract this back bend with the forward fold. I like to make this a bit more passive and yin-like by relaxing my arms, letting my head be heavy. And stay in this forward fold. Just crawl your fingertips out in front of you. And you might walk your fingertips over towards the left. So including a bit of a side bend. I also like to do lateral stretches, lateral flexion when working on the area of the chest and the heart. So big expansion through the right side of your rib cage. And go ahead and walk your hands over to the other side. Getting long through the left side of your ribs. Still folding down. Relax your quads, relax your thighs. All the way back through to center, and start to walk your hands in inch by inch. And you can help your knees close in. I'll just turn so I'm facing the other way. You can set your props off to the side for now. On tabletop pose, hands under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, curl tailbone up. Exhale, round your spine, chin to chest, tailbone down. Take a few more like this. Really flow with your breath, making this connection. And throughout our practice, notice this tendency to disassociate, to think about what else you have to do today, or to reminisce about the past. Really making the effort not to steal from the present moment. Giving yourself your full attention. Take one more cycle of this cat and cow as you inhale, open up. Exhale, round it in. Anahatasana, puppy pose, stretch, walk your hands out and melt your heart down towards the floor. So for me, it's better to bring my forehead to the mat. Some people prefer to drop the chin to the floor. And you need to hug in a little bit through your lower belly so that the emphasis of this pose is not strictly going to your low back. We're really working the mid and upper back in this pose. Pushing firmly into your fingertips and knuckles. We can slide forward on our bellies. Variation of Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Lower all the way down and slide your forearms and slide your palms along the sides of your rib cage. Make sure your feet stay glued to the floor. Baby cobra so that everything lifts off the mat except your legs. Inhale, chin, chest, palms come off the floor. Really squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. Exhale, lowering down. 3 more like this. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, soften and lower. 2 more. Inhale, keep the back of your neck long. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale, squeeze and lift. And go ahead and reach your arms back this time. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Keep pushing your toes into the floor. Isolate through your upper body. Press down into your pubic bone. Lengthen your tailbone to your heels. Let's release Balasana, child's pose. Either arms out in front of you or back behind. I am enough. I have enough. There is plenty for everyone, including me. Let's come back into our tabletop pose, setting ourselves up for a variation of Vyagrasana, tiger pose. Kick your right heel up towards the sky and make sure that your right hip is rotating in. We don't want our knee to be facing out to the side. Really push into that heel as you lift up through your heart. Roll your shoulders back, really activating. And maybe you stay as you are. If you'd like to go a little deeper, add your bind, reaching back with your left hand, holding onto your ankle. And again here, as you push the foot into the palm, really make sure you're drawing that right knee down. So facing it towards the mat. Opening into your chest, big breath in. Carefully release around your spine, counteract that back bend. And we'll switch sides. Kick your left heel up towards the sky, lift up through your gaze, squeeze into your glutes and contract in your hamstrings, maybe holding where you are, or maybe reaching back with your right hand, holding onto the ankle and deepening the pose. Keep your gaze steady on something that is not moving. And carefully release, round and contract. Coming back to neutral, Adho Mukha Svanasana, our first downward dog. Walk your hands a couple inches forward before tucking your toes under and lifting your hips up and back. And take a moment here to make any movements in the pose. Emphasizing a reaching of our chest towards the thighs, of curling the tailbone up towards the sky. Go ahead and reach your right leg up towards the sky, and you can bend your right knee and open up your hip here. So we're trying to stack our right hip over our left one, but see if you can push your right shoulder down. So keep your arms squared. You're only isolating the hips here. And let's step the right foot forward, Anjaneyasana, right foot in between the hands, back knee comes down to the floor. Keep your knee over your ankle as you push into the ground in order to lift up. So floating ribs, draw in for this one. Think of lifting up out of your lower back. Let's interlace our fingers and place them towards the back of your head. So just cradling the back of your neck here. You can scoop your elbows forward, and if you'd like to add a back bend, you're going to lift the elbows and your chest up towards the sky. And if you have a lot of flexibility in your lower back, you might be tempted to just collapse and let your hips drop down. Try to keep your hips slightly lifted, evenly distributing this back bend through the entire length of your spine. Coming into Ardha Hanumasana, our half splits. Release this lunge, fingertips down either to the floor or grab a hold of your blocks as you push into your right heel. I like to kind of wiggle the right foot forward a little bit to create more space, and you can absolutely bend into that front knee. Think of pushing down into your right heel and dragging it back as you extend your heart forward. Shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears. Bending into our front knee once more, plank pose, hold it here. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels, reach the crown of your head forward, and really draw your navel in. Let's lower all the way to the mat. Bhujangasana, cobra pose, point through your toes, push into your hands, keep your elbows bent and hugging in. Big lift here. Exhale to release Shalambhasana into your locust pose. If you'd like, you can interlace your fingers behind your lower back for this one. Rolling your shoulders away from the ground, picking everything up and off the floor. Try not to look up too high here. Keep the back of your neck long. And imagine you're squeezing a little pencil between your shoulder blades, lifting your knuckles off of your tailbone. Big breath in here. And exhale to release. Press back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. See if you can lengthen out through your legs a little bit more. And this time our left leg comes up. Go ahead and bend your left knee, open up your hip while staying mindful of your left shoulder. So try not to let your left armpit be higher than the right one. Really press to wrap it down. This is a powerful pose, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Step your left foot forward. Back knee comes down to the floor. Push into the feet in order to lift up. Lengthen your tailbone down. Engage through your core. Arms extend. Shoulders press down. Let's interlace our hands the more unusual way. Cradle them at the back of the neck, right at the base of your skull here for support. Scoop your elbows forward. Start to lift up and then maybe initiate a back bend. Your abdominals need to stay engaged whenever you're back bending. Ardha Hanumasana, or half splits, either with or without blocks. Push into that front heel. Maybe wiggle it forward a little bit. And I'm doing the variation with a straight spine, flat back, so I won't necessarily be going down as far as I can. And bending into that front knee, plank pose. We're going to hold here just for a moment. Really feel that inner strength. Lots of stability in this pose before lowering down to your belly. Setting ourselves up. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Push into your fingertips and knuckles. Really spread the fingers wide as you bring your elbows in and shine your heart forward. Slow, steady breath. Exhale to release Shalambhasana, the other side. So interlace your fingers the more unusual way, the opposite way you did the first time, and go ahead and lift on up. Take an inhale. And exhale, release. Instead of going back to our down dog, push back so you can press onto your heels. Resting your hips back down. Bring your fingertips back behind you here. Squeeze your shoulder blades and your elbows together and lift up through your chest. And let's release. Come all the way forward onto your belly. We'll take a laying chest opener. I'm going to do the left side first because it'll be easier for you guys to see what I'm doing if you've never done this pose before. In yin yoga, this is also sometimes called broken wing pose. So left arm can go out to the side, either straight. My favorite way to do it is by bending the left elbow. And I want my elbow to roughly be at the same height as my shoulder. From here, you can roll onto your left hip, left shoulder, and left ear. Either pushing your right hand into the ground, or you can bring your right hand to rest on your low back. Some people even like to step the right foot back. We're here for about 5 breaths. And you can always lay your head on a block if this feels a little bit too much in your neck. We're really not looking for any kind of sensation in your neck. We're trying to isolate through the left shoulder, the pectorals, and the biceps. I am enough. I have enough. There is plenty for everyone, including me. Come back through to center, release that side. And we'll go to our second side. Extend your right arm out, either straight or bent elbow. Whichever one you did on the first side, try to repeat it again here. And roll on over, maybe pushing into your left hand. Or you can bring your hand back behind you, maybe also stepping your left foot back. 2 more deep belly breaths. And relax, ease on out. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Spread your fingertips wide. And go ahead and float that right leg up. Keep it straight and squared this time, so it won't be up as high as it did when you were bending your knee and opening your hip. That's fine. And let's step to Virabhadrasana 1, right foot to the top of the mat. Back foot at about a 45-degree angle. You want to be able to anchor your back heel to the ground here. As you bend into your front knee, push into the feet in order to lift on up. So tailbone lengthens down, draw your lower belly in, keep the rib cage pressing down as well. We're going to bend our elbows out in front of us, garudasana arms, left arm under the right, maybe binding once or binding twice. And then as you shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears, see if you can tuck your chin towards your chest, rounding a little bit through your upper back. So really stretching at the back of your heart. Look forward once more. Keep your arms as they are. We'll step into our full garudasana pose. Stepping up to eagle, you're going to wrap your left thigh over your right. Maybe binding once, maybe binding twice. Really bend deeply into both knees. Maintaining drishti, this point of focus, to help with balance. Falling out is no big deal. And let's find Tadasana, mountain pose. Release, roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Take padma mudra here, thumbs and pinky fingers together, hands at the heart. And you can tuck and just gaze into this lotus flower of your palms, cultivating your own inner abundance. And release your hands down. Let's come to Parsvottanasana, or pyramid pose fold. You can either do this just by placing your hands on your hips, because we are working on upper body quite a bit here. You can also do a reverse prayer at the back of the hands. So a reverse Anjali mudra, either with your fingers pointing down, or you can make it a little bit harder, pressing your palms together, fingers pointing up. Either way, we're trying to roll the shoulders back and bring the elbows out behind us. Keep your right leg forward and step your left foot back about 3 feet or so. Back foot is at a 45-degree angle. As you inhale, lift and lengthen. And on the exhale, start to hinge forward and hold when you're about halfway. So once you're parallel to the ground, wrap your right hip back and see if you can float your elbows up away from the ground, pushing firmly into your palms. Straight spine, inhale. And release your hands either down to your blocks or down to the mat as you fold. Relax your head, relax your neck. Pressing evenly through both feet. You're welcome to take a vinyasa, or you can skip it and go right away into that downward facing dog. If you're taking your flow, find plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, where we all meet. Setting ourselves up for the second side, float that left leg up. Keep that left hip rotating down, squaring off your hips. Virabhadrasana 1, step your left foot through. Back heel presses down, push into the floor, and really get anchored through your legs, anchored through the pelvis here. Everything is facing forward. Lifting on up, rolling your shoulders away from your ears. Garudasana arms, bend into your elbows, wrap the right arm under the left, maybe once, maybe twice. And you can choose to stay here or go a little deeper by tucking your chin towards your chest. And lift your gaze, get ready to step up, Garudasana, into that eagle pose, balancing on your left leg, wrapping your right thigh, and maybe the toes. Both knees should be bent. If you're on carpet like I am, expect some wobbles, totally normal. Tadasana. Stand tall, padma mudra. Blossoming the lotus of your heart and maybe gazing down. Not stealing from the present moment. Being fully present in the right here, right now. And let's release Parsvottanasana, our pyramid pose on the second side. Choose the variation that you would like with your hands, either hands on your hips or reverse prayer. Left foot stays as it is. Step the right foot back about 3 feet or so. Really push that left hip back, right hip forward. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Maintain this length even as you hinge forward and tilt. So holding halfway, this first part is more about stability and strength versus getting a really deep stretch, although you'll probably get that as well. It's an intense pose. So notice where your mind tends to go when things are challenging. And we'll fold all the way down, either with or without blocks. Bending into that front knee, either right away, Adho Mukha Svanasana, or take your vinyasa, plank to lower. Open through your heart, inhale. Exhale, hips go up and back. This is our final downward facing dog. Make any little movements and adjustments that feel good. See if you can reach even more towards your arms, pressing your chest towards your thighs. And let's drop our knees to the mat. We'll come into our camel pose. I like to do this one with the help of a block. So please grab a hold of a block. If you don't have one, it's fine. It's not necessary. I just find that this helps with my lower back quite a bit. When I put the block in between my inner upper thighs and really work on squeezing and hugging the adductors to the midline. This really helps to protect our low back and the pose. So hugging in, think of lengthening your tailbone down, lifting up nice and tall, and you can place your hands towards the low back, trying to encourage your tailbone to lengthen even more. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind you, and as you press your hips forward, you're lifting up and back. Keep squeezing the block as much as possible. Abdominals are engaging. And let's slowly lift on up. Release your block, Parsvabalasana. Let's come into thread the needle. From hands and knees, I always do a twist after a back bend. Reach your right arm up and thread it through ear and shoulder, either to a block or down onto the mat. And for this variation, I'm going to stretch my left arm up overhead, pushing into the fingertips. Notice where there is tension, whether it is physical, mental, emotional, or even energetic. Slide your left hand back down, push into the earth, lift on up. And we'll go to the other side. Inhale, left arm rises. Thread it through. And you might extend your right arm up overhead if that's what you did on the first side. See if you can push a little bit into your left hip and draw your lower belly into your low back. Left hand slides back down, push into your palm, lift on up. And let's release. Take your seed child's pose, hips towards your heels, arms reaching back behind you, forehead to the earth. And I like to just rock my hips a little bit side to side after that back bend. Slowing everything down as we unwind from this practice. What is your personal connection to ASTEYA? In what ways can you honor this Yama? What is the most relevant to you right now? And we'll just make our way down on the mat. You can flip over so you're laying on your back. And draw your knees in towards your belly, giving it a big squeeze. And you can widen your knees so they're aiming towards your shoulders and your armpits, just stretching into our hips and inner groin. If you'd like to take this further, you can come into your happy baby variation of the pose, holding onto the big toes or the feet. And see if you can press your tailbone into the ground so your spine is nice and long. Soften your shoulders. Release the hold of the feet, if that's what you had, and check in to see if there's any little things that would feel good to do before we move into Shavasana. Maybe just a little windshield wiper motion with your knees. And when you're ready, we'll give ourselves some last few moments of silence and stillness. This is your opportunity to integrate the work that you've done. For many students, Shavasana is a very challenging pose. This might be where ASTEYA is the most relevant to you. So are you able to stay present in Shavasana without distracting yourself with stories and thoughts? And if this is challenging for you, I do recommend on your own doing that 5 senses meditation. Anchoring yourself in the physical is a really great way to stay present. Take about 10 more deep belly breaths right here. Relaxing any part of your body that is still trying to work. We'll reawaken and re-energize through small movements at first, and then bigger ones through the extremities. Maybe stretching your arms up overhead, lengthening it all out. You can turn to one side, use arm strength to help yourself lift up. Taking a seat like you did at the beginning of class. Closing your eyes, hands at Anjali Mudra. Really pressing your thumbs into the heart. Making this connection. Knowing that you have everything you need. That you can turn inwards for the answers, for the resources. Knowing deeply that you are enough, that you have enough, that there is plenty for everyone, including you. We'll close with the chant of Om. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Om. Namaste. Thank you so much for doing this ASTEYA yoga practice with me. I would love to know how this went for you, what you connected with, maybe what you didn't connect with. All of that is welcome here. And please take a few more minutes just for yourself to stay in this period of introspection, to just write down any insights that came to you. Thank you all so much, and I will practice again with you very soon. Namaste.